Tom Holland, the actor, has recently done a video, what he eats in a day. He's doing great stuff in the cinema, but is he doing great with what he puts on his plate? In this video, I'm going to be reacting to what he eats in a day. Hello and welcome to Planet Nutrition. My name is Luke, I'm a nutritionist, and let's get into what Tom Holland eats in a day.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Tom Holland and today I will be talking about my diet and how it informs my training.
Damn, he's looking good. It's crazy, Tom Holland's actually a year older than me. I thought he was much younger.
My philosophy behind my diet is that my diet is far more important than what I do in the gym. I would say for me to see...
That's a really good point. A lot of people focus a lot on working out, but they don't focus on their diet. Our diet is incredibly important, especially when we're working out or wanting to reach a certain physique goal, especially like actors need to for a film.
Me to see results, it's 80% diet and 20% fitness. I try to be strict and healthy. I travel a lot, so I find it really difficult to get into a routine of cooking for myself. But yeah, so dieting...
It's really hard to stick to a good routine when you're constantly in a new place. You don't have access to foods that you like. You don't necessarily have access to healthy foods, foods that are high enough in protein that are going to meet your needs. It's probably helpful when you're really rich and you can afford to have someone to sort that all for you. But it's important to plan things ahead if you are traveling and you are looking to meet a certain goal, eat in a certain way, and don't have access to the foods that are going to help you get there.
I wouldn't call it dieting, but eating healthy is a big part of me staying in shape. I'm always trying to have a healthy amount of vegetables, and when I say healthy, I just mean a lot.
I love it, Tom. We all need to be eating more vegetables. Most of us don't eat nearly enough, and this is one of the things that I say when people ask me what is the most important thing we can do with nutrition to improve our health. For 90% of people, it's probably just eating a little bit more vegetables, a bit more fruit. That is something that's so easy that we can all do, and it's going to really improve our nutrition.
My girlfriend's a vegetarian, which is really helpful because it means that more often than not, I'll be having a veggie meal.
Zendaya, vegetarian. I like it.
But yeah, I'm mindful about what I eat, especially this past year. My brother and I, we live together and work together, and we famously have had the worst diets ever, especially when we're working. So we've both taken an active decision to really try and make a difference in our diet. When
it comes to making healthy changes, we really need to be intentional in the changes that we make. If we're just thinking, oh, I'm not eating that well, but we're not really bringing any intentionality to it, it's probably not going to change. We need to want to make change if we want to get better.
Typically for breakfast, I will have a bowl of porridge with a bunch of fruit and nuts.
Oh, love me a porridge. Talks to my Scottish ancestry. Porridge is a really great breakfast for people who like it, obviously. Oats can get a bad rap online because they have carbohydrates and they raise our blood sugar. But if you're eating a healthy, balanced meal, so some porridge, maybe with some high protein soy milk, some nuts and seeds, as Tom Holland is doing, and then maybe some fruit like blueberries, strawberries, whatever, we're creating a complex, balanced meal. And we know in nutrition, when we eat fats and protein and carbohydrates together, it gives us slower digestion and absorption of that food, so we're going to have more energy for longer. So porridge can be a great breakfast. Nice one, Tom. I love it.
Accompanied with a shake. The reason I do that is I like to get up early and I like to get the day started, and if I have to cook something, I feel like it really slows down the day. The berries give me a bunch of fiber, the nuts give me the fats that I need, and that I feel like sets me up for a great day. The carbs from the oats give me that nice long-lasting energy. So that'll be that. Lunch.
That's great. Totally approve. Having things like shakes and smoothies can be super helpful as well if you're on the go, if you have to go off to work and you want to have a healthy meal that you can bring with you. I have smoothies all the time.
Typically, if I am not bulking, I'll skip lunch. I very, very rarely will eat lunch.
So that's awesome if that's working for Tom, that he's not feeling hungry in the middle of the day. Meal skipping, though, can really depend on the person. It can work really well for some people. For others, they can get hungry and that can lead to cravings, which can lead to maybe not eating what we really want to be doing, or maybe things that we know aren't the best for us. So that really is important. If we're wanting to apply something like this, tuning in with our body, something I recommend for my clients is like intermittent fasting, where you might delay your breakfast a bit and bring your dinner in a bit. So we have that period without eating throughout the kind of evening, night, early morning, then we're eating throughout the day, but at a steady rate. So that makes it easier to kind of stick to that window. And then when we get used to not eating for a certain amount of time, we actually don't feel hungry. So that can be an easier way to manage it if you feel like that might work better for you and you're wanting to stick to some sort of way to maintain your calorie intake. And obviously he says that when he's not bulking, if you're trying to gain muscle and body weight, you probably need to be eating more food, and you maybe don't want to be skipping out on meals.
And then for dinner, I'm so lucky. My brother Sam is a really talented chef, so he's been building all of these amazing recipes. So really every night I'm going over to my brother Sam's house and eating whatever it is that he's been cooking, which can range from sticky bao buns to a traditional roast dinner to, you know, a chicken Veronique. So it's very, very fun stuff. So that's what I've been doing recently.
It's so good having someone that can cook for you. That makes things a lot easier. And honestly, these meals don't seem too bad. It's important to also enjoy our food, so eating things that are delicious. We don't necessarily want to be eating out at a restaurant every day because those foods can often be like higher in added sugar and processed oils and things like that can make us eat too many calories. But if your goal is putting on mass, maybe like Tom might be trying to do for a certain role, it can be helpful to eat things that some people would consider less healthy just because it makes it easier to get more calories in. But for a lot of us that might be struggling with maintaining a healthy weight and weight loss, we just want to be a bit mindful of these types of meals.
I take supplements depending on my fitness goals. So right now I'm on a pretty steady flow of creatine and protein. I also take a protein shake in the morning, which is filled with all the minerals and vitamins that you need to be living a healthy lifestyle.
Creatine is another supplement that's really good for athletic people and potentially for everyone. It basically allows our body to kind of produce a little bit more energy than it normally can. So when we're working out, we might be able to do 1 or 2 reps more, so we can give our muscles more stress and then they'll grow more because of that. There's really interesting research recently coming out about creatine and its effects for our brain health. Because our neurons also use creatine for their functioning, they normally produce enough that they need, but for people that don't get enough in their diet, creatine is mostly found in like animal products, so people who are vegetarian and vegan might benefit from additional creatine for mental functioning, memory, brain processing power and all of that. I personally take creatine and I don't really notice any mental benefits, unfortunately, but it is a really great supplement for like working out, helping us to have a bit more energy. And it also brings more water into our muscles, can make us look a bit more muscly as well. Added bonus.
Spider-Man 3, Jack, who's a mate of mine, and Duffy, who is our trainer, we just really got into CrossFit. I'd never done it before. And I just really loved the kind of competitive edge of it, setting goals, trying to beat your personal best. I really enjoyed that, and we got very fit for that job.
That's epic. It can be so helpful to have other people around you that you work out with. I know my most fun times at the gym or when I used to go with my friends, you can keep each other accountable, keep it interesting and exciting, go for goals and get better together. Doing anything like that with a community, also making dietary changes can be really helpful because it's not just you on your own. It can be so hard to stick to something when it's just you. So if you are wanting to make good changes, thinking about how can I get other people involved, because that is a really powerful way to make lasting change.
The hardest thing I've done in terms of dieting for a role is somewhat a contradiction to what I've been saying throughout this interview, but I cut as much weight as I could for a film called Cherry. Incredibly proud of that movie. It's one of my favorite and best experiences I've ever had as an actor. I was trying to keep below 500 calories a day. I was working out like a crazy person. I was dropping weight really quickly.
When actors do these roles where they have to cut, I find this insane. It takes so much dedication. If anyone's ever tried going low calorie for a while, it's incredibly difficult to stick to. Our bodies have basically evolved that they kind of want to hold on to that weight that we have, which can make weight loss difficult. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but we need to have a lot of intentionality towards it. And these actors that go from being quite heavy to quite lean very quickly, it takes an extreme approach and it takes an extreme amount of dedication to be able to do it. While it's not something that I would be recommending or trying, respect to Tom for being able to do this.
There's a whole bunch of different things, really. The thing I've been cooking the most, because it's a really easy thing to like batch cook, and it's also really good for me with what I'm trying to do right now, is I do a chili but with lentils rather than a mince. It's very flavorful, it's really tasty, it's healthy, and it's ultimately full of all the things that I need to put some weight on. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
That's great. I love it. Getting some more plant-based protein into our diet is really great. Eating more plant-based protein is associated with lots of different health benefits. For me, I never used to like chili with mince my whole life, and it wasn't until eating one with lentils or with beans that it's actually now one of my favorite foods. So give it a try. Learning to cook is the most important thing when it comes to your health. You can really take everything into your hands and into your control, all of the stuff that you're putting into your body. You can make stuff that's tasty and healthy. Nothing gets better than that.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it a date night. It was a regular night in the household, but it was a nice chili. We sat down. I'm currently watching Grey's Anatomy, and we watched about 7 episodes of Grey's Anatomy and ate chili. And yeah, I was probably farting a lot because it's very gassy.
We're gonna say you've got to be careful about that with them beans and the legumes. If you haven't eaten a lot of beans, legumes like lentils, chickpeas and stuff before, sometimes our gut isn't used to them. So you don't necessarily want to go and make yourself a massive chili, sit down and eat it all straight away. It can be helpful to start small, introducing them into our diet. Just having like a tablespoon or so with each meal to start with, to give our gut time to adjust to them. When I talk about our gut, it's also our microbiome. We have trillions of bacteria in there, and they actually digest the fiber from the plants. So we want to have beneficial bacteria that can also help us to digest these foods. And if we've never eaten them, we probably don't have so many of those bacteria. So having a small amount can help to feed them, help get them going, so they'll be able to help support us with our digestion and also get us to a point where we're not getting super bloated and gassy from eating these foods. A little bit of gas is always normal. On a date night, you might want to be holding it in, but as you get to know someone a bit better, you might be lucky where you can let those farts out.
My favorite carb is potatoes. I absolutely love potatoes. I'll have a potato in any form it comes, even raw. I love them. I absolutely love them. It's the Irish in me.
I 100% agree, Tom. Potatoes are probably my favorite vegetable. We talk about potatoes as a carb, and while they are mostly a form of carbohydrates, and they can get a bad rap because of how we eat them if we're having them deep fried and stuff, they can actually be very healthy and a source of nutrients if we're preparing them in a healthy way. Having oven roasted chips, for example, rather than deep fried ones is a much healthier option. And there's so many other ways to eat potato, and I agree with you, Tom. I like all of them. Maybe not raw though.
If I had to have one meal with a character I've played, I would have it with Peter Parker, and we would get to the restaurant by mode of swinging there. You know, he's my hero, he changed my life, so I'd probably like to sit down with him.
That's great. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with Tom Holland's diet. A lot of celebrities can follow some things that aren't necessarily super healthy, things that are trendy or whatever, but his diet seems pretty grounded in the fundamentals of nutrition, getting lots of healthy vegetables, fruits, getting enough protein and especially sources of plant protein in there, creating healthy balanced meals, but also enjoying yourself, having meals that help him to reach his goals. He seems like he's doing super well.